All right, we now have joining us on the Soccer Hour on 810 KSFO. It is Oscar Verhoeven of the San Jose Earthquakes, no longer a rookie. He's moving into year number 2 in Major League Soccer. Oscar, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
How's it going? How are you? I'm good. I'm good.
Nice, man. So just let me ask you, how much of a learning experience was last year for you getting those first opportunities at the MLS level?
Yeah, it was great. Um, very happy with how the season ended for sure. Getting a good amount of minutes, making some starts. So um, definitely realized the level that it's at compared to the second team stuff. So learned a lot there, and then also just how to compete in such a competitive environment, especially with stadiums full of fans and just kind of all the different professional environments at such a higher level. I learned a lot.
In terms of that learning, like was it learning about the speed? Was it learning about the physicality? Was it learning about yourself and your own game?
I think for me it was consistency. I think every player is so consistent with what they do is that and that's what makes staying at just staying switched on like the entire 90 minutes is what I learned the most is that once you turn off for just 1 second, the opponent will capitalize with the quality that they have.
In terms of trying to deal with that, just kind of series after series, possession after possession? Is it just a matter of understanding that at any moment the game can change very much more quickly than maybe it was at a lower level?
Yeah, for sure. I think at this level for sure they capitalize on mistakes a lot more. So I think that's another thing. I had mistakes in a couple of the games that resulted in goals, and obviously it's you never want it to happen, but it's definitely learning moments. So I think that's something I definitely took away is that every action is very important, and your role has to be done to perfection, or they'll capitalize on it.
But that is the learning process. I mean, you don't learn through success usually. You learn through mistakes, through failure. And it's funny because in sports,
Exactly.
people often talk about a fear of failure or something like that. But it's like, no, I think the reason that someone like yourself can go out there and have success is because you had the confidence to go out there and experience failure. Because ultimately, that's what makes you a better player, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
And for you, in terms of going into the off season, how did you look at your own game? Were you trying to get better everywhere, or are there specific areas where you said, okay, this is an area I need to improve upon?
Yeah, there's definitely a few focuses. I think for me, the main focus was putting on a little bit of weight. Now that I'm playing with, guys that are a little bit bigger, a little bit more athletic. So going into the off season, it was put on some more muscle, be able to be a little more explosive, and then technically wise on the ball was, improve the left foot, give me better chances on both sides of playing, and then also just consistency of crosses were a couple things that I went into the off season working on.
How much more difficult was it for you when you were playing on the left side last year? Because I know that you're a natural right, but you did oftentimes start games at the left hand side of the fullback position. And then oftentimes in the second half, you would move over to the right hand side. And Joe Cannon and I up in the booth, we would say, oh, he's really working into this game, especially now that he's on the right hand side. But, it's not bad to be good with both feet. Like, did you kind of say, like, hey, you know what? Like, I can do the right, but I can be more valuable to do it with both?
Yeah, and it gives me the opportunity to get on the field, twice as many times rather than just being limited to one side. So, going to your first question, I wouldn't say it's much more difficult. Obviously, being on your weak foot, it's a little bit different, but I have gotten a lot of experience there playing with the national team during the U17 World Cup. I was left back, starting left back like every single game. So it wasn't something that I was too unfamiliar with, but obviously just with being a dominant right foot player, it could be a little bit uncomfortable, but nothing where I would be like, whoa, I don't know if I'll be able to handle this.
I can't remember what specific game it was, but you had a nice behind the back move to yourself, and then you spun around and fed Espinosa up the right wing. Like those are the things, though, that I imagine you can't let yet do on your left foot, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just a little bit different with body positioning and stuff. Some things you could do on the left because, you could kind of use the outside and like have your back to the guy and use your right a little bit better. But there's certain small things that I kind of feel on different sides. But yeah.
Yeah. Now that you've put on a little bit of weight in the off season, Do you feel that? Can you tell that when you're out there playing and in training and so far this preseason?
Yeah, I definitely feel stronger. I mean, visually I look a bit stronger. I mean, I come into the first couple of weeks of preseason, all these guys are like, dude, you look pretty big. Like your arms look bigger, like you look a bit bigger. So I definitely feel it, and you could definitely see it a little bit within the team was even saying it. So I'm happy with where I'm at for sure.
I mean, that's the hard thing for somebody who's like you, a teenager. You step into a man's league. These are dudes that have had not quite twice as many years as you on this planet to build up their bodies, to put on mass, to take in the calories. And that, I mean, it puts you under the gun, but I'm sure that you walked into the off season with much more of a plan maybe than you had at any point of your career, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Definitely things that I knew I really wanted to work on. So for sure.
Was there any point last year on the pitch where you did get pushed around a little bit by one player and you said, man, I need to get stronger?
Uh, I wouldn't say there was a certain moment. I think it was my goal has always been, even if I wasn't playing, it would be to, put on a few more pounds. I've always been kind of a more lean guy. And I think now that I'm not growing as much, I'm able to put on some more weight. So it's always been a bit of a goal for me to get to a weight where I'm happy with. So I mean, it wasn't like a moment where I was like, oh man, like I'm definitely undersized, like I'm not gonna be able to handle it. But yeah.
Did you go back and look at film after games and were you a harsh judge of yourself or were you pleased with the way that you played? I mean, I know that everybody probably looks at themselves and focuses on the negative, but were you able to see the positives in your play as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a self-critical person. I hold myself to a pretty high standard. So when there's mistakes that I've made, I'll accept it, even in a team environment when we're going over video. Like if it's a time where I have to say, that was my fault, that was, I'll definitely take ownership to it. But I think for me, I was also proud of myself towards the end of the season. I mean, I got a lot of minutes and. Uh, I think it's always important to take the positive from that
Mhm.
because when you go from not playing at all to playing a lot, it's like you got to be happy with yourself that you finally made the jump, you finally got some opportunities and you took advantage of it. So I think there was a little bit of both sides of you know I need to fix this, I need to focus on some of these mistakes that I was making, and then also hey, you did well here, like keep this up, and even improve it if you can.
How has it been in training camp so far working with Bruce Arena, who is the most decorated coach in American soccer history?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, it's been an enjoyable experience. A lot of new faces within the team, and obviously the coaching staff is pretty new. So I think just getting used to everybody and understanding how kind of everyone plays, how everyone coaches, and everyone's different personalities. But I've been happy for sure.
Has it been fun to have veterans like a Dave Romney or Nick Lima come in, guys that you can pick their brains?
Yeah, I mean, all the new guys that we've gotten, I can't complain about. They've all been really nice guys, good in the locker room. Everyone's working hard on the field, so yeah, it's good, very
No,
good.
that's good. That's good. In terms of, what the coaching staff is asking of you, is that any specifically different than what it was previously, or are they just asking you to keep on progressing in the direction you've been progressing?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's it's I would say focusing on some of the same things, like I mean, consistency of certain actions, being a wide player. So I mean, it's all pretty similar. Being a wide player, I feel like it's pretty, you can only change so much. Most of it's just height and width. And other than that, it's pretty straightforward with just how it plays. So I wouldn't say anything that I was like, well, I didn't expect you to ask that, but so nothing out of the ordinary.
I would imagine, though, you're relatively used to dealing with multiple coaches, whether it's with, Quakes tour the town and then with the national team and then being with the first team last year. Like, you're used to probably getting similar but different instruction from a lot of coaches at this point of your career.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always tried to been or try to be as coachable as possible. So, I mean, whatever they throw at me, or even if it takes a little bit for me to understand it, like I'm always trying to grasp new concepts and try to build my way into the team as much as possible. So,
In terms of the team, having good vibes right now, I know that last year was difficult because there was not a whole lot of winning going on, but it always felt like the team was pretty positive, and it seems like this year so far the guys have always been in good moods every single day. Everybody's happy to get out there and take on training.
Yeah, definitely good spirits. I'm definitely. I think a lot, most of us are, or all of us are enjoying it, enjoying training, being back, and getting ready for the season.
How is it in the off season on like the group chats and stuff? Are you guys all texting each other about getting ready for the team? I imagine there's a group of you younger guys who probably text a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm definitely in contact with some of my buddies that I'm a bit closer with. I mean, for us, we didn't really know, what new guys were going to be coming until like just a couple days before the season started. So I wouldn't say there was too much of a dialogue going on between everybody. But once everybody was in, everybody's talking really positively and excited to get going.
What about having guys like Josef Martinez and Chicho Arango, who are two of the top scorers in this league, into their backgrounds? Is it fun to go against them in training?
Yeah, it's fun to go against them, and it's also fun to just watch them. I mean, they have, obviously very good technical ability, and just to be able to watch them, score a bunch of goals and the techniques they use is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I would imagine it's pretty fun. And then, in terms of also playing alongside them and other new players, you like I alluded to with because a lot of teams you play on, you have to develop chemistry quickly. But is it easy to develop good relationships with all these new faces that are on the squad?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's another thing with just them coming in and being open to everybody and speaking to people. You tend to mesh with everybody a bit easier once off the field. Once things are off the field and things are good, I think when you get onto the field, everyone's, just a bit more tight with each other and are more willing to kind of adjust to certain ways people play. But yeah, I don't think there's been really an issue at all with kind of adjusting to see how other forwards play.
How's your boy Nico looking out there in the midfield?
He's looking good. Yeah. He's
It's
moving
so
well, feeling good.
It's so funny, man, because like a couple years ago he looked like a kid, and then last year when he came in for training camp, he looked like he was like in his mid 20s. Like once again, I saw him this year. I'm like, am I sure about this dude's date of birth, man? Like he's like Jack now too when he's out there. He's so much bigger than he was when he made his debut just a couple of years ago.
And then his beard too doesn't help at all. Keep him younger.
Is it fun to play with your friends like that? Like I know that it's a job and it's competitive sport, but when you have somebody out there that you have a relationship with, that's got to make it that much more fun, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun. And I don't know, you just feel, the chemistry is obviously good. Like you're always hanging off outside the field. So when you're able to get onto the field and pass the ball around and it feels like you always kind of know what their next move is, it's definitely fun.
Now, I also think that's like one of the more overlooked aspects of sports is how much the fact that guys are friends. And I'm sure there's dudes that, you started to become friends with last year that are no longer on the team this year, but that's part of the process that you're getting used to, right?
Exactly. It's definitely a little bit different. I've never really experienced too much of that. So now that I've kind of seen it a little bit, I mean, it's definitely something that you're like, oh, like it could change that fast. So definitely something that you notice once you are kind of in this environment a bit more.
What are your goals for this year?
Just play as much as possible. I just want to play and help the team as much as possible and win games and do better than last year.
Yeah, I would imagine that's the hard part of last year because it was such a huge moment for you to make that transition into Major League Soccer. But at the same time, the team wasn't getting a lot of results. So I would imagine that for yourself and a lot of the other younger guys, there's a big desire to bounce back from last season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all eyes are on this season and we have high ambitions of doing well and making playoffs and just winning as many games as possible.
Has there been much discussion of last year, or are you guys just kind of turning the page on it?
I mean, there's been a few pointers that, we've kind of looked at, but I mean, it's kind of, put behind us and focus on this new chapter with, obviously a lot of new coaching staff, new players. So I don't think dwelling on the past is too much of a focus for the staff coming in, but yeah.
Now we've got about 18 days until the opener on the 22nd. You getting excited about that already?
Yeah, I'm pretty fired up. I think we all are. I'm really excited.
Awesome. Well, Oscar, I will let you go, man. Appreciate your time. We'll talk soon. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.